We're interesting in Group A.
Damas y caballeros, en este momento, el presidente de CONCACAF, el señor Jeffrey Webb, y otros dignatarios e invitados de CONCACAF y los equipos participantes le están dando la bienvenida a los jugadores oficiales del partido.
Man with the whistle. Mexico's captain, Joel Huiqui. Introducing the dignitaries to his side. Interesting side it is too, which we'll get confirmation of shortly. It's not entirely what was expected. As Jeffrey Webb, the president of CONCACAF, meets the holders, Mexico, who, along with the USA, the hosts, will be expected to contest yet another final. It does seem to end up being those two more or less every time. Have a look at the team news momentarily, once we've had the national anthems.
Y después el himno nacional de Panamá. With the United Nations for the fight against AIDS. Please listen for a message from the two team captains. CONCACAF ha creado una alianza con las Naciones Unidas para la lucha contra el SIDA. Por favor, escuchemos el mensaje de parte de los dos capitanes de los equipos.
Hola, como capitán de la selección mexicana de fútbol que compite en la Copa Oro 2013, hacemos un llamado a todos los jugadores, a los jóvenes y a los aficionados en todo el continente americano a celebrar la vida, apoyar la campaña de la ONU-SIDA, protege la meta, para que así alcancemos 0 nuevas infecciones por el VIH, 0 discriminación y 0 muertes relacionadas con el SIDA.
Como capitán de la selección de fútbol que compite en la Copa de Oro 2013, hacemos un llamado a los jugadores, a los jóvenes y a los aficionados en todo el continente americano a celebrar la vida y apoyar la campaña, proteger la meta, para que así alcancemos 0 nuevas infecciones del VIH, 0 discriminación y 0 muertes relacionadas con el SIDA.
Mexico fans here in force. Not such a big trip to California. And they are here in expectation, if not in confidence. Let's have a look at their lineup. Most of the regular stars were at the Confederations Cup, so aren't involved here. Raul Jimenez will be at the sharp end. So too Rafael Marquez Lugo in the absence of more star names. Marco Fabian, the number 10, is one to look out for, the playmaker of Chivas. Much expected of him. This could be his stage to shine on. Experienced defenders seem to be on Mexico's bench than in their starting 11 tonight. There's a lot of question marks about De La Torre, the Mexico boss. More of him later. For Panama, no Felipe Baloy and no Blas Perez, the incredible goal-scoring record of him. Missing for now, not even on the bench. So Gabriel Torres will be expected to find the goals, with Cecilio Waterman coming in to attack. Just number 3 for him. Still plenty of international caps amongst the Panama 11. Far more experienced in that sense than Mexico. Walter Quesada, a referee from Costa Rica, the man in the middle there. Efrain Velarde, Pumas defender, making just a second international cap here. So much made of this Mexico B team, as many have been calling it. Federations Cup in Brazil has, of course, only just finished, so Manuel De La Torre, Mexico's boss, picked a completely different squad for this competition. All playing in the domestic Liga MX, Mexican League, which is ongoing at the moment. But even so, they are still expected not only to compete, but to win this. And Julio Deli Valdez is a pretty famous name from not so long ago as a player. Panama's arguably one of their most famous footballers of all time, now in charge of their national side. Panama might just sense that this is a great time to be playing Mexico. It's a very sketchy looking side in terms of personnel. It's been put together and hasn't had any real time together. They don't have many caps. Looking through the lineup, about half a dozen would be the average in that Mexico side of how many international appearances they've made. In terms of FIFA rankings, this is 20 versus 51. Away we go. Part 2 then of the doubleheader in Group A. Martinique, the surprise early table toppers, having snatched a glorious last gasp winner here about 45 minutes ago to beat Canada. These are the other two in the pool, the two that were expected to come out on top of it and make it through to the last 8. Maybe they still will. We shall see. Overhit ball from Quintero towards Sanchez there. Panama were terms of those rankings, even though they're 51 now, they were up at their highest ever ranking of 35 in April, so you can see there's been progress, even if they've dropped a bit now. These two are rivals here in Group A and also in the race for World Cup qualification that is far tighter than was expected. Looked like a nudge, indeed it was. Marco Fabian with the foul on Paris there. Just a little one, but enough. These three go through automatically from the CONCACAF qualifying table for next summer's World Cup in Brazil. At the moment, Mexico are third, only a point clear of Honduras, who are in this tournament as well, and a point behind them, Panama. Mexico and Panama play in October. Unthinkable that Mexico might not get through as one of the three to get to a World Cup. They're always in it. They are up against it. This is a tournament that is, for them, slightly down the priority list, of course, but with their main men struggling, these players here will see it as a chance to really get themselves cemented into that first choice first team when the World Cup qualifiers come around. Here is Israel Jimenez. Castro giving it away. And Quintero taking a bit of a meal of that, but he's got the free kick at least. Foul from the skipper, Huiqui. Just caught him as he was going through. It's a free kick, but sure, Quintero really needs to be holding his head. Early chance then for Panama to cause some problems 3 minutes in. Those bowls really filled up, began quietly for the last game. Something clever from the free kick routine there. Just floated in towards Roberto Chen, didn't quite reach him. Paris. Yeah, foul Marquez Luco. Done well. Here's Huiqui. Listen to the Mexican fans. Really not that far, is it? Mexico to California in travel terms. Making themselves heard here. Rose Bowl's a wonderful arena. It's filled up plenty, and it's mostly green, as you'd expect. There is the Panama skipper, Roman Torres, 70th cap for him tonight. He's the rock at the back in the absence of Felipe Baloy, more often than not his partner. Baloy not at this tournament. One or two rather differing reasons why that would be. He's in Mexico, in fact, Felipe Baloy. I'm sure he'll be at the very least an interested observer, even if he hasn't come here for whatever reason it may be. Jair Pereira on debut. Back for Mexico tonight. In comes the cross, and there goes the header. Floats wide from Gabriel Torres in the end. Plays his league football in Colombia for Zamora. We've got a couple of international goals. 35 appearances, it has to be said. Paris. Sanchez got it to Godoy. It's a decent ball out to Quintero. Taking on Jimenez. And might have been tripped there. He was! Penalty to Panama, 5 minutes in. And Mexico's problems have resurfaced here in no time at all. And hasn't Group A been lively? Martinique have already won the opening game, and now Panama have a penalty for a very clumsy challenge indeed coming in there from Raúl Jiménez. He didn't need to make it on Quintero. He didn't get any of the ball. He got a bit of Quintero's knee, and Panama have a penalty. What a chance this is. Torres against Orozco. The holders could be in trouble early on here. Big moment. And Torres buries it. And the silence is deafening. A couple of little pockets of Panamanians in the crowd amongst a swathe of green, but they're the ones rocking. Mexico 0, Panama 1. What a start. It's a good penalty, that, because Orozco went the right way as well. Real pressure right in front of the Mexico fans, but if you hit the far corner... Odds on to be a good one, and it was. Third international goal for Gabriel Torres. No Blas Perez tonight. 80 caps and 29 goals for him. He's not there. Torres had to shoulder the burden. And he stuck that penalty away in pretty nerveless fashion. Long time to go. This was a Mexico side with very little experience, under an awful lot of pressure, and that's not going to help at all, is it? Here's Torres again, with Mexico's captain, Huicui, for company. Looks as if the Mexicans have gone with 3 at the back here, including Jair Pereira. Loose touch from Enriquez. Panama with nerves settled and a goal lead. But now Mexico on the break, and listen to the noise. What on earth was that? Jimenez, Fabian and Marquez Lugo between them should have made more of that, the three. Attacking players for Mexico. Here's Quintero. He's already won the penalty. 10 minutes gone. Wonderful start for Panama. Long way to go. There he goes again. Well, you're not going to get 2 in 5 minutes. Quintero says, was I not blocked off? And Walter Quesada says, no, you weren't. Worth another look. Well, Israel Jimenez presumably working on the principle that referees don't tend to give a side 2 penalties in quick succession. Luco. Now to Aldrete, good cross, decent header too, and a save to match. Pinedo puts it over. Rafael Marquez started that move and then made the break into the box. The Chivas forward, close to a second international goal. Marco Fabian over the corner. Mexico have woken up here. In comes the corner. Oh, what a chance. No one dealt with it. And Marquez was nearly in again. Just arrived on him on the bounce, didn't it? Awkward one, but a wonderful chance. Players like Oribe Peralta and Javier Hernandez not here. Chance this for Rafael Marquez and players like him to really put themselves into the thoughts of Mexico boss, or Chepo as he's known, Jose Manuel de la Torre. Mexico's response to that early penalty has been good. Just look how their fans have started to fill the Rose Bowl. Velarde with his left boot over the free kick. It looks too deep. It is too deep. Generally, a very young and internationally inexperienced lineup this. Looking through, Jimenez 9 caps, Enriquez 5, Pereira debut, Velarde just a second appearance for him, a 10th cap for Aldrete, 6th for Israel Jimenez. So we go on, 12, 5, 10. Third cap for Orozco, the keeper, although he's seen a fair bit of decent level action. Jonathan Orozco with Monterrey, who won the CONCACAF Champions League again this year. A little flick from Marquez to no one in particular, hammered out by Gabriel Gomez. It's very neatly done by the goal scorer, Gabriel Torres. Didn't he do that well? He's found Quintero out wide. Quintero's ball is a good one into Sanchez, but the flag's up. Oh, he's given the free kick for the nudge right on the edge of the box. Mexico looking across, hoping the offside decision had been called, but instead for the block off right there on the edge. And you could tell what the Mexican fans think of it. It's a teasing ball in from Quintero, wasn't it? The littlest of nudges from Adrian Aldrete there, the Club America defender. Not a lot to smile about, even if they do look a bit happy. Mexico a little bit rattled here. Understandably so, really. And Julio Deli Valdez trying to get a message across from the bench as to how he wants this taken. It would appear Gabriel Torres is going to be doing the taking. Indeed he does, and over it goes. Would have been an early brace. Not quite so deadly from 20 yards as he was from 12. Rather more difficult effort, has to be said. Here's Huikui then. With the captain's armband tonight, only a 10th cap for him. The pass is going astray. It's an interesting player, Alejandro Castro. It's a debut for him tonight, the Cruz Azul midfielder. By all accounts has risen very quickly out of nowhere to put himself on the international scene. Another debutant there, Jair Pereira, getting rather irate about this latest decision. You could see why, really. Not a lot going on there, was it? But Panama have got the free kick. Israel Jimenez clears, but not very far. Only as far as Godoy. Here's Quintero again. It's one of the home-based Panamanian players, plays for Chorrillo. 34th cap for him tonight. And the contrast in international appearances, at least, massively in Panama's favour. Players there with 50, 60, 85 caps in Gabriel Gomez's case. Huikui's header. Enriquez back to clear. Backing in this time. Given against Cecilio Waterman. He plays for Phoenix in Uruguay. As you'd imagine, they're spread around Central and South America after these Panamanians, and as I mentioned earlier, the entire Mexican squad picked from the domestic league. A deliberate and understandable ploy, really. Couldn't overly rinse the Confed Cup players that went to Brazil. Didn't get through their group. That didn't go down well with the Mexican fans, albeit they were in a group with Brazil and Italy. Hardly the easiest pool to get out of, and they didn't get out of it. Ball forward here for Raul Jimenez to chase. A spectacular tumble over the hoardings. Roberto Chen, he rode that one pretty well, didn't he? Full of running, youth on his side, and flexibility by the looks of it. The baby of the squad, he's still a teenager. Mexico's corner, they need a response. Can they find one? In towards Huikui. Velarde trying to turn it back into the box, couldn't manage it. Hooked clearance from the experienced Gomez. Both he and Jaime Pinedo, the Panama keeper, have 85 caps coming into tonight. There's another free kick given here, a little tete-a-tete with cabeza a cabeza between Carlos Rodriguez and Gonzalo Castro, who's Alejandro Castro rather, who's seems to have come off worse. He's certainly the one with the most blood going on. Goodness me, that's quite a bash. Eyes only for the ball. It's a nasty one. It's as if Rodriguez is okay. Castro is in more trouble here. Got to stem the flow of blood for a start, and then I wonder, there might be some concussion going on there. Generally see risks taken when it comes to this, but it seems to be fairly alert, doesn't he? Rodriguez certainly up and okay. Almost half of the first half gone here, and so far so good for Panama. CONCACAF president watching on with Oscar De La Hoya as his guest in the box there. Far. One goal has come from Panama's Gabriel Torres, and maybe a bit of a knockout going on down there in that latest collision. Castro will have to go off to come back on again. Another look at the penalty incident. It's a very, very clumsy challenge from Raul Jimenez. It's one he didn't need to make. He was nowhere near the ball. Gabriel Torres stuck it away really well. Here is Torres again. Did he keep it in? No, he didn't. Roscoe under pressure there, just about got the pass away to Huigwe, who himself was taking a bit of a chance. Ball forward from Jair Pereira. Fabian, was he fouled? Not according to Mr. Quesada, our referee. No, he wasn't. Called by Godoy. To Torres. Quintero leaves it for Rodriguez to take over. Too much for Jaime Pinedo to do, just that one tip over from the Marquez header. There's Marquez again, and now Enriquez. Raul Jimenez, who will feel he's got some making up to do, having needlessly given away that early penalty. Enriquez. Corner ball. .25 played. Panama almost a third of the way to 3 points. Martinique and Group A already have 3 points. 2 through out of the 4 for sure, as the corner is easily met and headed clear by Paris. It's another who plays domestically in Panama with Tauro. 16th cap for him tonight. All into Jimenez, and the pass behind Marquez, but Mexico will get it again via the sloppy clearance from Paris. Chen's header clear. Castro. Aldrete. Velarde put under real pressure, pressured into making the mistake, and Waterman isn't giving up the chase here. Jair Pereira can watch it go out. Sanchez, another Tauro player, done well. Here's Alberto Quintero again, seeing plenty of the ball and enjoying himself in this first half. Wants it back, gets it back, and Huiqui, maybe with a subtle little nudge there on him again. Can't handle his running at the moment. Quintero looking for a penalty that he was never going to get, even if there was the slightest of contacts there. It's a subtle one that was on the blind side of the referee. Of course, has already given Panama one. Have to be fairly blatant, you'd imagine. That looked like a handball. Indeed, it has been given against Panama's skipper, Roman Torres. He plays in Colombia for Millonarios. Almost half an hour gone. Mexico, despite their lack of experience, expected to still shine in this tournament. Another overhit free kick, this time from Marco Fabian, Chivas playmaker. Who started the warm-up game they had in midweek, the Mexicans. They played a Mexican club side, Querétaro, and they lost 3-2, and they needed 2 late goals to make that scoreline even look that good. Sanchez loses out to Castro, who then gets it back from Fabian. This is looking promising, with Aldrete coming up from the left-sided position he's got. Seems to be like a left wing back of sorts. Huiqui coming up from the back to join in the attack. To Jimenez, who's then given it away. Vicious ball from Castro. Rafael Marquez not quite on the wavelength. An overhit pass anyway. Well, Chepo is getting a lot of grief from the media and the fans in Mexico at the moment. 2.5 years in charge. Started so well with a victory in this tournament, in fact. As Quintero goes dancing forward again. 4 green shirts around him. And they daren't touch him. Not too obviously, anyway. I think that might have been a shot at goal coming in there from Gabriel Gomez. Rather ambitious. Another who plays his club football in Colombia at Junior. He's only 29, this is his 86th cap. These two drew a World Cup qualifier not so long ago, 0-0. They meet again in October. That really could decide everything. As I was mentioning earlier, they're only 2 points apart in the CONCACAF qualification group. And it's very, very tight indeed. Comes Raul Jimenez. His first touch led him down. And his second was a foul. He's not having a very good night so far, but he's got an hour left to make it better. Looks like he's caused a bit of pain here as well. It's Gomez, he of the 85 caps, who's taken that one high up on the shin, just below the knee, but he's okay. Plenty of fouls from Mexico, no goals though. And not that much sign of one either, you'd have to say. Half-decent header from Rafael Marquez. That's about it. Here's Aldrete. A lot of them in here, and not a lot to shout about. Six-time winners, Mexico, of this competition. Their 12th Gold Cup appearance. They've won both of the last two finals, beating the USA in the final on both occasions, being in 2009 and then 2011 when they won 4-2. And in this evidence, though, you'd have to say the USA fearing Mexico that much this time around. Very different looking side. USA in Group C. It's going on Tuesday night. Group C, the USA taking on Belize, and Cuba and Costa Rica, the other two in that pool. In between, Group B, with Trinidad and Tobago, Haiti, Honduras and El Salvador, the best of buddies. Here comes Aldrete. Now Velarde, chance to get a good cross in, but he couldn't do it, and it's an easy header away for the skipper Torres. Neat feet from Aldrete, but Panama have it back. An easily won foul by Waterman. If you had your cynical head on, you'd say Panama have started wasting time already in this game. It's not the most subtle of challenges, is it, from Joel Rugui? Mexico's captain for this tournament. Godoy. Back to Roman Torres. Nice touch. Oh, and what a mistake that nearly was. Jair Pereira left it. He was very nearly left with his head in his hands. Waterman. Gomez. Torres. Sanchez. Panama's throw, 10 to go in this first half. Three years in charge now for Julio Deli Valdez. His brother Jorge had a go a few years back. Well travelled as a player, over 200 career goals as well, all over Europe. A nudge in there from Castro. Herrera. Defender for Cruz Azul on debut. Back to Aldrete. Little flick from Castro. Despite the bang on the head, just a fairly clever player in the middle of the park for Mexico tonight. Catching at straws, really. They've not had a deal of impressive performances out there in the 37 minutes we've played. Group A heads due north to Seattle for midweek games. Next up, it's a nice idea with the ball in towards Marco Fabian, but over here. Will play Canada, who didn't look all that impressive in the opener against Martinique here earlier on this evening. Canada up in Seattle, and then Group A closes out in Denver for the third set of games next weekend. Jimenez under pressure, real pressure, chance for a second here, wonderful chance, and Orozco's done well. Oh, what a miss from Torres, would you believe it? He wasn't the only guilty party. Once again, it's Alberto Quintero causing the problems. Waterman completely fluffed his lines. And then Torres following up, seemingly with an empty net to pass it into, sliced it wide. Should be 2-0. Will that be costly? That would have been a second-half mountain for Mexico to have to climb. Still in the game, despite having struggled here. Some of them don't look. Waterman barely touched that one. Orozco, credit to him for both of the efforts there. And credit to Huiqui, that challenge flying in. He might not have gotten near the ball, but Gabriel Torres knew he was coming. And you'd have to say perhaps that was just enough to make him take his eye off the ball as he thought about the incoming challenge. Ball over the top for Waterman, and there's no flag here against Waterman, who's hit the post. 5 minutes to half-time. Panama should be out of sight here, and Mexico are all over the place. It's a young side with next to no caps, and they're playing like strangers at the moment. What on earth was happening with their back four line there? Huiqui, the skipper, playing Waterman onside. It must have been a tight call. And Mexico really dodged a bullet there. They could easily be 3 down. Easily. They should be. Sigh of relief for the skipper. Here he is. Taking no chances, Huiqui. Chen's defensive header gives Mexico the throw. Enriquez trying to make something happen. Mexico have 3.5 to the break. Probably have a fair bit added on for the clash of heads and the various fouls we've had. As Aldrete goes for the byline, doesn't get there. Velarde, Aldrete. Used to have seen plenty of it on the left flank. If they could get some quality in, who knows? They combined nicely there. Velarde. Challenge coming in from Paris was enough. Mexico's corner. 3 left of the 45. Fabian to take. Here we go. Near close flick. Mexico want a penalty. Panama just want to clear it. Fabian gets another go. Good challenge from Roberto Chen. Oh, and Fabian getting involved. And the referee's done well there to just get in the middle nice and quickly and stop that one from kicking off. Two shouts for a penalty there. An arm by Chen, you're not going to get it. This was the follow-up challenge. Kick it in there, did Fabian. And was his move first. Chen just gave him a little nudge afterwards to say, don't do that again. It's fair enough. Here comes Jimenez, the Tigres defender. Aldrete in towards Marquez. Velarde was there. It's by Rodriguez, but it's coming back in. Chen with another good footing. It's looked pretty good, Roberto Chen. The third cap for him tonight. Solid back there. In the absence of Felipe Baloy, him and Roman Torres. Done well so far. The first half isn't over yet, never mind the second. Plenty of time for Mexico to sort something out, and they need to. It's not the best clearance you've ever seen, and nor is that. And a little block off on the keeper there. At least he made it look like one. Jaime Penedo. Mexico feel everything's against them tonight. We certainly played him on. No communication between the skipper and Jair Pereira there, and Cecilio Waterman was this close to doubling Panama's advantage. Decent clearance that from Penedo. It was a bobbling ball. We've just entered the first of 3 added minutes at the end of a rather lively first half. They had a very lively start. It's two growing rivals. Separated by that early penalty. There's been a fair bit of needle. It's only going to escalate in the second half, because you know Panama are going to take every chance they possibly can to waste a bit of time and wind up the Mexicans. Aldrete's throw. Marquez with a hopeful up and under, and Penedo with the catch. Nice ball into Fabian. Great equaliser. Lift off in the Rose Bowl in added time at the end of the first half. They have really not been at their best, Mexico, but they're on terms here with a really well-taken goal from Marco Fabian. Of all the inexperienced Mexican players here, here's the one that the fans have the highest hopes for. He took that goal with real panache. It's a super pass, it's a super run, and it's a very tidy finish. They may not deserve to be level, but they are. Credit to Israel Jimenez for the ball in, and those missed chances for Panama might be costly now. But with a real weight of expectation on them, that deficit could have been a problem for Mexico in the second half, but it looks like we'll be going in all square now. Really good goal. 1-1 in California. And this is Marquez with the cross. It's on target. Raul Jimenez. Almost two in a minute. Good first half comes to an end here at the Rose Bowl with a late twist in Mexico's favour. Marco Fabian with the equaliser, equalising the Gabriel Torres penalty early on. Panama really had their chances after that to make it 2-0, maybe even 3. They didn't take them, and it might cost them. Delicately balanced here in Group A's second game of the night. It is Mexico 1, Panama 1. International commentary returning in 10 seconds. "45 minutes to play on opening night in the Rose Bowl. The 2013 CONCACAF Gold Cup has had a very lively start indeed. A surprise win for Martinique over Canada with the last kick of the game first up, and now a very keenly contested encounter here between Mexico and Panama, and changes for Mexico at half-time. Carlos Peña, who was expected to start, has come on. So too has Carlos Valenzuela. Double change. Jose Manuel de la Torre. Much of that first half side was struggling. Got themselves an equaliser late on. It could so easily have been worse from them than the 1-0 deficit they did have. Jair Pereira at centre-half has gone off. Looks like Valenzuela will slot in alongside him, or rather in place of him, alongside Huicui, the skipper. And here he is in defence, Valenzuela. Plays for Club America, 10th cap for him tonight, which amongst this Mexican side is a lot. Rafael Marquez, making his 12th appearance for Mexico tonight, has the most caps in the whole squad, which, if you missed it earlier, has been selected entirely from domestic Liga MX players. Mexico's point of view, deliberately so, after the trials and tribulations of the more regular players at the Confederations Cup in Brazil. That only ended a couple of weeks ago. Peña trying to get involved straight away, the number 6 for Mexico, but losing out. And that's a good ball, isn't it, for Waterman to chase, and he's got there. Waterman hit the post at 1-0. Great chance that was. And the goal scorer from the penalty spot, Gabriel Torres, the ball just a moment ago there. Could easily have got himself a second as well when it was 1-0. Ball it towards Gomez. Valenzuela and Jimenez got up to get enough of it. Here's Quintero, who won that penalty with a really dangerous ball in, and he's put in another beauty for Torres to poke home, and he didn't miss that one. 3 minutes into the second half, Panama re-established their lead, having scored after 3 minutes of the first. Can they hold on this time? What a night it's turning into for Gabriel Torres. It's a devilish ball in from Alberto Quintero, who's been the liveliest player on the park tonight, and that's a very deft finish. That's a lot harder than the one he missed in the first half. Well, there was the early penalty, and then Mexico's equaliser, and that go-ahead goal from Panama. Really high quality, both on the pass in and the tidiness of the finish on the end of them. And Mexico, the holders, are behind again and under pressure again. Winners of the last 2, 6 times winners of the CONCACAF Gold Cup all in, but here with a very young side and trailing. They weren't level for long, were they? 2 minutes either side of the break. Time to hold on. Jaime Penedo, the Panama keeper, hasn't had much to do so far. And he's not going to have anything to do with that either. Jimenez, not nearly so accurate free kick as he was with the wonderful ball in for the Fabian equaliser just before the half-time whistle. Gabriel Torres is on a hat-trick. He'd only scored 2 international goals before tonight in his 35 caps. He's doubled it here. in less than an hour.
Taking their time. Lionel Paris, the throw. Jorge Enriquez. Again. And again. Chivas midfielder. 22, 6th cap for him. That is about the average, if you like. Handful of caps, early 20s. That's a good ball. This is Jimenez. Chance on the overhead. Whistle had gone anyway in the middle there as Fabian went for the spectacular. Not for the high feet, but for the nudge on Paris. Carlos Peña. And Peña again. Nice little ball through! Off the outside of the upright. And Fabian's very nearly equalised all over again there. Didn't Peña do well in the setup, the substitute? That's a clever little pass. Fabian's first touch was nicely controlled into his own path. Just the wrong side of the post from Mexico's point of view. Defender, apparently. Mexico have a corner. There it goes. Gomez. Another look. I'm sure that Chen did get a touch, nor Penedo. Panama with a lead to protect. 40 minutes still to protect it. Their 6th appearance at a CONCACAF Gold Cup this. Their best finish was as runners-up to the USA in 2005. They lost that final on penalties. And their boss, Julio Deli Valdez, tonight, was a player then. Got to the semi-finals as well the last time, 2011. As mentioned earlier, involved in a very tight fight in World Cup qualification with Mexico and Honduras, and surely a Mexican free kick there eventually. Decision made for the referee there by Efrain Velarde. Anibal Godoy made sure he wasn't getting there one way or another. Fabian's there again, deflection, close, it'll be a corner.
Nato wasn't getting to that. If it'd been looping anywhere near that far corner, he was routed to the spot. Fabian takes the corner. He'll have another go. Mexico looking for an instant response. Neatly done by Fabian. He played for it. And he got it. It's a card there, I think, for Anibal Godoy. Really do a great deal about it. Expected to just move out of the way for the player. Marco Fabian knew what he was doing. He's having a greater and greater influence on this game by the minute. His free kick in towards Enriquez. Sliced out of play, the clock moving very slowly from the point of view of Julio Deli Valdez. Deli Valdez has coached Panama at under 17 and under 20 level before this. His only club coaching job was as an assistant at one of his former playing clubs, Malaga. Left there just before the big bucks arrived. Weak. Mexican wave round the Rose Bowl. I wonder if they call it that. Probably just call it a wave. Here's Waterman on the burst, and he's onside, and he didn't have any friends up there with him, so he had to go it alone. Cecilio Waterman. That conviction, didn't it? Peña. Another nice idea of a through ball. Looking for Marquez that time. Possessed by Torres. Jimenez. Carlos Peña. Leon, midfielder. Again. Jimenez. Peña. Been good since he came on, Peña, for this second half, influential in the middle there. There has been a bit of that, and I dare say there'll be some more. 2/3 of the game gone. And as things stand, Group A's opening night will finish with Panama and Martinique on 3 points and Mexico and Canada on none. And I don't think anybody would have predicted that. Foul given. Mexico's free kick. Neatly done by Israel Jimenez. And the run of Marquez was spotted, and there's no flag. There's a very strong challenge coming in, though, from Torres. He had to time it right. Did he get any of the ball? This angle ought to tell us. No, he didn't, is the answer. He certainly had a nervous look round, didn't he? Paris, all down the line here for Sanchez. Jimenez with the header, coolly done. Likewise by Oigui. There's Rafa Marquez again. Enriquez, Peña, and then nothing. Influential for Panama tonight, Quintero, as Fabian has been for Mexico. Marquez. That's gone horribly wrong. Much more of the ball, with only a third of the goal scored, unfortunately, for Mexico. Holders trailing. CONCACAF very much dominated by Mexico, be it the World Cup qualifiers over the years, or this tournament, or indeed the Champions League, which Mexican club Monterrey have recently won for the 3rd time in a row. Beat Santos Laguna in an all-Mexican final, both the last 2 years actually. This tournament perhaps a bit lower in their priority list. Peña. Fizzed in there. Raul Jimenez perhaps slightly on his heels. He's not really offered a lot, has he, tonight? Mexico's number 9, Raul Jimenez. It was he who rather needlessly gave away that early penalty in the first half. Useful bit of ball carrying from Carlos Rodriguez. And eats up a bit more time by winning the free kick. Needless foul again from Marquez this time. Panama will take that all night long. Chance for Mexico on the counter here. Here is Marquez. Stands one up to the far post. Fabian cuts it back. That's all he could do. Good bit of defending coming in from Gabriel Gomez. Nearly not good enough for Mexico at the moment. Forward. We've had half of the second half now, and we've got our first Panamanian change of the game here. Rolando Blackburn is going to come on. Plays for Häcken in Sweden. He's going to replace Cecilio Waterman. There was a thought that actually might be the other way around tonight, that Blackburn would get the start and Waterman be on the bench. He had a chance to make it 2-0, did Waterman. Panama do have their lead now. They're not in any hurry, as you might imagine, to make this change. "12 appearances and 3 goals for Panama before tonight." Rolando Blackburn. Getting any better for Raul Jimenez. Valenzuela to Elade. Got it back now to Marco Fabian. Peña left a foot in. Quintero's feeling it, and even if he's not feeling it, he's making out like he's feeling it. Certainly wasn't anywhere near the knee, was it? Got him right on the shoelace. I think he'll be okay. Tell you what, his work for the penalty and the cross for that goal there, showing a very good side indeed of Alberto Quintero. That's the kind of ball you just can't defend against. If someone makes the right run in the middle, which Gabriel Torres most certainly did, it's a goal all the way. He remains on course to be the match-winning hero. He's still on course for a hat-trick, not that he's had a sniff of goal since that second. Needless to say, he's the tournament's top scorer at this early stage. Fabian. Jimenez. Fabian, desperate to make something happen. Enriquez. Sloppy. Third and final change coming for Mexico here. That's Isaac Brizuela there. The Toluca forward about to make his international debut. He'll be the local hero. Could mark it with a goal, that's for sure. Los Angeles, or this part of it, has turned into Mexico for the night. We're about 95% green, this crowd. Quite a big crowd now. You can fit 90,000 in here. Certainly haven't got that many, but majority of it's full. That's a weekly. How adventurous do Panama want to be? There's your answer. When they've got the ball, you wonder if they might just try and knock it about a bit to kill some time, but they put the killer pass there. Quite happy to concede possession, as you can see. It might be Jose Manuel de la Torre again, as it was just a few weeks ago when he had a completely different squad in Brazil. The 2013 winner of this tournament will play the 2015 winner of this tournament in a playoff. How about that for a long stretch in between? And the winner of that, or indeed that side, if it's the same side, will represent CONCACAF at the next Confed Cup, just as Mexico did a few weeks ago. That's just what Panama want. Too eager from Fabian. Torres. Marcos Sanchez. And regular fouls are making the game bitty. They're breaking it up, giving Panama's defenders a chance to get their breath back. It's exactly what they want. Canaleros. Free kicks to eat up time. Ball nowhere near their goal. Ball in from Torres. Montero's kept hold of it well. Rodriguez, Montero again, sensibly keeping possession. Fabian. It's not happening for the holders at the moment. Certainly happened for Gabriel Torres tonight. That's a teasing ball in. Orozco's been underused in this game, really. Conceded twice, but done very little else. He was out well then. Tidy ball forward, that to Brizuela. And Torres, perhaps as much by luck as judgment, just found the ball at his feet then. Marquez with the touch. Jimenez found his shot charge down. Break on here, if Panama can get it right. Blackburn has found Torres. Torres has found Quintero, who will want to run at his man, and doesn't get the free kick this time. And realistically, Mexico have 13, maybe 14 minutes to find a way to goal. You can bet Panama will make their remaining 2 changes to just try and slow everything down a bit more. Here's Carlos Peña trying to do the exact opposite. Here comes the cross. Good deflection on that shot. It's a corner. Fabian takes Mexico's 9th corner of the game, having had his shot blocked. Bit of cramp in the middle for Gabriel Gomez. No surprise there. And, having taken that tumble and suffered from whatever it is he's suffering from, I think that is the last we're going to see of Gabriel Gomez. Juan Perez is there and ready to come on. The oldest member of the squad, 36th cap this will be for him. Plays in Panama for Tauro, just like the right back Lionel Paris and the right midfielder Marcos Sanchez. Club thing going on there. Fabian's corner, great chance! It'll come back in as Pinedo prepares for more keeping to do, and he's done that just as well. Headed back into the mix, headed out again. Peña. Enriquez, worth the shot. It's charged down, that one should be caught. No, it's punched again. Pinedo's goal, for now, can rest easy, but not for long. Quintero buying himself a free kick there. Every trick in the book here from Panama. It's a fairly routine save, you'd have to say. From Pinedo, if he hadn't made it, it would have been a bit of a howler. The substitute, Juan Carlos Valenzuela, almost marking his debut with a very important goal here for Mexico, who, as holders, don't expect to come here and lose on opening night, but losing they are. Captain's header away. Oh dear. Referee having none of it, and rightly so. Play goes on. Fabian's come deep. Gabriel Torres has gone down again. Quintera's put the ball out. Defender for an attacker coming here. Gabriel Torres going off. Looks like Harold Cummins is going to come on for him. That was his best moment of the night for sure, to add to the penalty he scored earlier on. Very neatly taken goal. At the moment, that's the match winner, and it will stay the match winner as long as this scoreline stays like this. Harold Cummins on then, Torres off. Marquez. Mexico almost out of time here. It's a good claim from Pinedo. Bit too much of this tonight. Of course, when a goalkeeper's down, you have to stop the game. The referee could send a message out here, you know, he and his officials could get together and say, why don't we add on 10 minutes for all this nonsense that Panama have produced in this second half. Might make them think twice about doing it again. You're hard pressed to find a leg injury out of that landing. Happy to see the cameras, if not the score on the scoreboard here. Fabulous recovery from Jaime Pinedo. And on we go into the final minute of the 90. Valenzuela. Panamanians getting the ball and then just waiting to feel the contact, and down they go. Big header from Enriquez. Mexico's free kick for the challenge. In the back there of Brizuela, and it certainly was a foul. Five added minutes, here we are. Paris hacks it clear. Mexico's fans have just seen the 5 added minutes, and we also have an intruder. And he's very pleased with himself. Well done, you. There's Peña. Brizuela. They've really not been at their best, Mexico. They pinched a very good equaliser just before the break. But parity lasted just 3 second-half minutes. Can they find it again in the dying moments of this second half to give us a real symmetry to this game? Panama scored 3 minutes into the first half and 3 minutes into the second. Mexico scored right at the end of the first half. Can they do it at the end of the second too? Big header out from Panama's captain, Roman Torres, who has been very much a centre-half captain, leader and rock tonight. Play on. Fabian. The cross chipped in towards Marquez, who says he was fouled. But of course he would. Anything goes now. Valenzuela coming forward. Panama just desperate to try and keep the ball, waste as much time as possible. Another idiot on the field now, wasting everybody's time. And that media scrutiny, fan scrutiny on El Chepo, Jose Manuel de la Torre, will only intensify if this result stays the same. To be honest, it'll intensify even if they get a late equaliser here. .90 seconds left. Off to Seattle next for Group A. Mexico will play Canada, Panama and Martinique will play each other. And right now that'll be the two nations on 3 points playing each other. The top two. Incredible. Sloppy clearance to Brizuela. It's Enriquez. Panama bench screaming at the referee saying surely time, but we've got 30 seconds left at least here. Deep cross in towards Enriquez. Montero, the header out. Jimenez. Seconds left. Anywhere will do for Panama now. It's a bad night for the holders, and it's a great night for the underdogs. Panama, with some questionable second half tactics, you'd have to say, have scored early in each half here. What a night at the Rose Bowl. Martinique beat Canada earlier. And now Panama are celebrating a famous victory over Mexico. And the two underdogs in Group A both have 3 points. Canada and Mexico finished the night pointless. Full time here in Pasadena. Mexico 1, Panama 2.